John Paul Jones, the quiet genius of Led Zeppelin, has spent decades as the band's unsung hero.
And John Paul Jones.
The music is legendary.
And I got to track drums. I'm playing drums on the track that John Paul Jones plays Mellotron on, and it's just like...
While the spotlight has often rested on Jimmy Page's trailblazing guitar work, Robert Plant's mesmerizing wails, or John Bonham's seismic drumming, Jones has largely remained in the background, a foundational figure whose influence is felt in every corner of the band's music, yet whose name is inexplicably absent from many of the great rock and roll debates. The bassist, keyboardist, arranger, and multi-instrumentalist brought a level of sophistication to Led Zeppelin's music that was as vital as it was often underappreciated. It's a mystery why Jones isn't afforded the same level of adulation as his bandmates. After all, Led Zeppelin's music would have lacked much of its dynamism without his contributions.
Baby, I'm not fooling. I'm gonna say it, yeah.
Perhaps it's his understated nature. While others reveled in the limelight, Jones seemed content to let his work speak for itself. But for those who know, Jones is nothing less than a titan of rock music, and his role in shaping the sound of one of the greatest bands in history cannot be overstated. In a rare and illuminating 2003 interview with Swedish television, Jones offered a window into his personal connection with Led Zeppelin's catalogue.
We were all good musicians, and so we knew the value of dynamic and light and shade, to set one off against the other.
Unsurprisingly, the songs he singled out as favourites reflected the band's ability to blend power with nuance, grandiosity with subtlety. These tracks aren't just fan favourites, they are masterclasses in musical composition, arrangements that exemplify Jones's brilliance and showcase Led Zeppelin at their finest. His reflections on these tracks are a reminder of just how much thought, skill, and artistry went into creating them. Jones's first choice, Kashmir, has often been described as the crown jewel of Led Zeppelin's discography.
Do you like Kashmir, by the way?
Oh yeah, I like it's a big favourite of mine, Kashmir.
Yeah?
Well, I didn't write it.
No,
Taken from their 1975 album Physical Graffiti, the track is an odyssey of sound, weaving together Page's relentless guitar riff, Bonham's pounding rhythms, and Plant's commanding vocal performance. But what elevates it to another level is Jones's contribution, his lush orchestration, his masterful keyboard work, and his ability to make the grandiose feel utterly organic. For Jones, the song represents something truly special, a great showpiece, he called it, adding that it was very theatrical, a grand gesture, and grand it is.
Kashmir was a great showpiece as a number. It was very theatrical and the grand gesture.
The track's hypnotic quality comes from its repetitive structure, which refuses to resolve in a traditional way, creating a sense of endless motion. It's music that transports the listener, evoking the vast landscapes that inspired its creation. Kashmir is often associated with Plant's lyrics, which were written during a drive through the Moroccan desert, but its power lies as much in its instrumental architecture. Jones's string arrangements lend the song its cinematic scope, while his use of rhythmic interplay between the strings and drums ensures that it remains grounded in rock, even as it flirts with classical and world music influences. The fascinating thing about Kashmir is how democratic it feels. Every member of the band is integral to its success, and yet it is Jones's role that provides the thread binding it all together. The strings surge and swell at precisely the right moments, the keyboards provide an ethereal undercurrent, and the entire arrangement is stitched together with a meticulousness that is pure Jones. His humility in describing it as merely a showpiece belies the sheer amount of work and genius that went into creating it. But it's not just about spectacle. As Jones turned his attention to When the Levee Breaks, it became clear that his tastes run deeper than surface grandeur. This track, taken from Led Zeppelin 4, is an exercise in atmosphere. It's one of those songs that feels almost tactile, like you could reach out and touch its dusty, swampy textures. The atmosphere on When the Levee Breaks is amazing, Jones remarked, summing up what many fans feel but struggle to articulate. It's a track that sounds ancient and apocalyptic all at once, as though it were dredged up from the Mississippi Delta and transported into some dystopian future.
Less orchestral, I suppose, more bluesy, but great atmosphere, especially on the record. The atmosphere on Levee is amazing.
Of course, much of that atmosphere comes from Bonham's iconic drum sound. Recorded in the stairwell of Headley Grange, the drums echo and reverberate with a power that feels almost supernatural.
Keeps on raining, Levee's gonna break.
Page and Plant have often spoken about how the song was built around Bonham's drumming, but Jones's role in shaping the track's mood cannot be overlooked. His bass line is restrained, almost brooding, allowing the drums to take center stage while providing a steady foundation. It's a classic example of Jones's ability to do more with less. He didn't need to play anything flashy to make his presence felt. His playing was all about serving the song, and nowhere is that more evident than here. The track's haunting quality is amplified by Jones's subtle touches. The harmonica wails like a ghost, the guitars creak and moan, and Jones's bass pulses like a heartbeat. Together, these elements create an atmosphere that feels both menacing and mournful, a fitting backdrop for Plant's lyrics about a flood that destroys everything in its path. It's the kind of song that lingers long after it's finished, and much of its staying power can be traced back to Jones's masterful arrangements. Jones's third choice, What Is and What Should Never Be, reveals another side to his musical sensibilities. This track, from Led Zeppelin 2, is a study in contrasts.
If I say to you tomorrow,
shifting effortlessly between dreamy verses and thunderous choruses. For Jones, it's the dynamics that make the song stand out. The way the rhythm section comes in, the way the drums come in is just magical. That changing of gear, he said.
Things like What Is and What Should Never Be it's really good. The way the rhythm comes in, the drums come in. When the drums come in, it's just magic, that sudden changing of gear.
Capturing the sense of exhilaration that the song's transitions inspire. It's a song that showcases Led Zeppelin's ability to blend light and shade, a hallmark of their music.
I mean, we were all good musicians, and so we knew the value of dynamic and light and shade, you know, to set one off against the other, which is why we didn't sound like other bands, because other bands seem to just do light or shade, never in the same song. You have a slow song or a fast one, or and to me that's boring. Plus, you ignore really valuable musical dynamics.
The verses are almost jazzy in their delicacy, with Jones's bass line gliding smoothly beneath Plant's vocals. Then, without warning, the chorus explodes with a force that feels almost physical. Bonham's drumming crashing like a tidal wave. Through it all, Jones's playing remains fluid and melodic, providing a sense of continuity even as the song shifts gears. What Is and What Should Never Be is also a testament to Jones's versatility. As a bassist, he could hold down the low end with authority, but he could also add a sense of movement and melody that elevated the music. On this track, his bass line is not just a supporting element, it's an integral part of the song's character. It's the kind of performance that makes you realize just how much Jones contributed to the band's sound, even if his name isn't the first that comes to mind when people talk about Led Zeppelin. One of the most fascinating things about Jones's selections is how they reflect his role within the band. These are not the showiest tracks in Led Zeppelin's catalogue, nor are they the ones most likely to get a crowd on its feet. But they are the tracks that reveal the depth of the band's music, the ones where every element works together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. And in each of them, Jones's contributions are indispensable. He is the glue that holds the arrangements together, the steady hand that ensures everything runs smoothly. Jones's humility has often been both a blessing and a curse. It has allowed him to focus on the music rather than the ego-driven antics that so often accompany rock stardom, but it has also meant that his achievements have sometimes been overlooked. Yet those who take the time to dig deeper into Led Zeppelin's music quickly realize just how vital he was. His ability to blend technical skill with an almost intuitive understanding of what a song needed was unparalleled, and his influence can be heard in every note of the band's best work. Listening to Jones speak about his favorite songs is a reminder of just how much thought and care went into creating them. These tracks didn't just happen by accident, they were meticulously crafted, with every detail carefully considered. And while Jones may not shout about his contributions, they are there for anyone willing to listen. His fingerprints are all over these songs, from the orchestral sweep of Kashmir to the swampy menace of When the Levee Breaks, to the dynamic interplay of what is and what should never be. In the end, perhaps it's fitting that Jones's role in Led Zeppelin mirrors his musical philosophy. Understated but essential. He didn't need to be in the spotlight to make an impact. His work speaks for itself. And if you ever find yourself questioning just how important he was to the band, just listen to his favorite songs. They tell you everything you need to know.